Love Story of Mike and Maria. Number 4. Today we are going to read about their first date. Before we read about their first date, let's study some expressions and vocabulary. First one, lend a hand. Lend a hand. Lend is the opposite of borrow. So in a way, to give, to help someone with their work, skills, or resources. Lend a hand. And here hand is a noun, but this hand is a verb. So when you use hand as a verb, it means to give. Hang up. Hang up means to end a phone conversation. And lent is past tense of lend, which is the opposite of borrow. So if you have, you can lend. If you do not have, you need to borrow. One more time, if you have, you can lend. But if you do not have, you need to borrow. The last one, naive. Naive means too willing to believe that someone is telling the truth, that people's intentions in general are good, or their life is simple and fair. Naive, lend a hand, hand, hang up, lent. Naive.
It was 6 o'clock on Friday night. Maria was getting ready for her date at 7. She expected him to be on time and could not afford to keep him waiting on account of her not being ready. It had been a while since she had last been on a date with a guy. She was feeling a little nervous. She looked at herself in the mirror and applied her makeup. She put on her favorite red dress and brushed her hair. It was important for her to look her best. Mike, on the other hand, did a little preparing on his part. He showered, combed his hair, put on his shirt and jeans, and sprayed on some cologne. This process had taken him 30 minutes. Maria began getting ready at 5. Mike was on his way to Maria's apartment to pick her up. He drove a fairly new black car. He had started financing it a few months ago. He had hoped the car would impress Maria. Mike was about 15 minutes away from Maria's apartment when he started thinking about what to say to her. He was not feeling nervous like Maria was. Mike had complete confidence in himself. Nothing could go wrong. Mike had arrived at her address. He calls Maria on his cell phone. Maria tells him she will be out in a minute. Mike says okay and steps out of his car to smoke a cigarette. Mike looks around the street. He spots a stranger walking towards his direction. The stranger looked like he had something on his mind. The stranger approaches Mike.
"Excuse me, sir. Can you please lend a hand?" "What can I do for you?" "Do you know where the nearest payphone is at?" "No, I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with the area." "I need to make an important phone call, but I just lost my cell phone."
"Why don't you use my cell phone to make the call? Here." Mike hands the stranger his cell phone.
"Thank you so much, sir."
The stranger makes his call and soon hangs up. He hands it back to Mike.
"Thank you again, sir. I really appreciate the favor."
The stranger walks away while Maria walks out of her apartment. She notices the stranger thank Mike and walk away.
What was all that about?
"The man needed to make a phone call, so I lent him my cell phone."
You really trusted a total stranger with your personal cell phone? You either are really naive or really kind.
I would say both. Mike and Maria sure have a good laugh of the matter. They both enter the car and drive to the restaurant. They enter the restaurant and are seated by the waitress.
What can I get for you guys this evening?
"I'll have the Kung Pao chicken, please."
Good choice. That's our specialty dish. And for you, ma'am? I'll have what he's having. 2 Kung Pao chickens coming right up.
The waitress smiles and walks away. "I hope you brought an appetite with you."
I sure did.
Tell me more about yourself.
I'm a student at a university. I'm originally from Colorado. My dream is to be a librarian one day.
Wow, that's interesting.
How about you? What do you do?
I work at an office building in downtown. I graduated from UCLA 3 years ago. My family is from Pasadena, California.
You went to UCLA? That's impressive. Tell me more.
Mike and Maria continued to get to know each other over dinner. They had such a great time and decided to continue seeing each other after. 1 year later, they both share an apartment together in California where they plan to eventually get engaged and buy a house.